Cooley High. This classic movie was released in 1975. It was a coming of age comedy drama set in 1964 Chicago, Illinois, and it centers around two high school seniors who are also best friends. Richard Cochise Morris, who's played by LawrenceHilton-Jacobs, he was a local basketball hero. And Leroy Preach Jackson, played by GlynnTurman, he was an aspiring writer. Both of them had big dreams of making it big. In the meantime, they participated in activities you would almost expect from guys their age, such as riding on the back of a public bus, hanging out with friends, ditching school, and in this particular instance, attending Lincoln Park Zoo when they should be at school. And let's not forget chasing girls, with Cochise being smooth with the young ladies and Preach being not as smooth. Their lives began to become more complicated when they accepted to ride in a car with two neighborhood guys who they knew, named Stone and Robert. If you haven't already guessed, Stone and Robert were not against committing a crime or two. Surprise, surprise, they were riding around in a stolen car, and the cops quickly gathered all four of them and charged them with grand theft auto. One of their high school teachers, Mr. Mason, played by GarrettMorris, attempted to talk the detective into dropping the charges against all four of them. Mr. Mason was successful in getting the charges dropped against Cochise and Priest, but he wasn't as successful getting the charges dropped against Stone and Robert, as the detective told him those two, Stone and Robert record was just too full. Their crime record. When Preach and Cochise was informed of their release, Stone and Robert quickly believed that Preach and Cochise snitched on them to gain that freedom. The movie didn't really get into why, but Stone and Robert themselves only spent a night or a day in jail themselves. They were released, which was for unexplained reasons in the movie. So now they were back out on the street. The same day of Stone and Robert's release, Mr. Mason informs Preach that he was the reason that he and Cochise were not booked. Preach feeling like this info would exonerate Cochise and himself from a little street justice, frantically went about trying to catch up with Cochise to let him in on the news. He ran into Cochise's cousin named Jimmy Lee, played by Stephen Williams, who notified Preach that Cochise had headed over to his apartment with some girl. So the two of them headed over there back to Jimmy Lee's apartment. When they reached Jimmy Lee's apartment, Preach busted in to find his best friend Cochise getting it in with his ex, Sandra, played by Christine Jones. This discovery by Preach made him angry, of course. And needless to say, he never got a chance to tell Cochise that Mr. Mason was the one that got them out. Needing to clear his head a little bit, he went to a frequent hangout called Martha's. And there he ran into his new love interest, Brenda, played by Cynthia Davis. Brenda was someone who Preach had pursued for a little while. She eventually gave in to his pursuit. She got big mad though when she found out that Preach had initially bet on quote unquote getting her. So yeah, and the funny part about it is that Preach clumsily released that information. So at this point, Preach was basically on Brenda's ish list. And she didn't want to have anything to do with him. But with that being all in the past and water under the bridge, and Preach apologizing and pleading, Brenda forgave him. At that moment, Stone and Robert walked into Martha's. Upon seeing them, Preach had Brenda leave and told her to meet him at the L station in about 15 minutes. With some instigation from Damon, played by Maurice Marshall, Stone and Robert confronted Preach in Martha's. Before I proceed with the confrontation between Stone and Robert and Preach, let me give you a little backstory on Damon. Damon was still a little salty, I believe, from a couple of days prior, being beat down by Preach's best friend Cochise at a party. So he was basically down for anything that would get Cochise and or his best friend Preach beat down. Moving on. So when Preach was approached by Stone and Robert, he tried to let them know that Mr. Mason got them out that they didn't tell on them. Mr. Mason got them out, and we can go check it out. We can go check it out with Mr. Mason, and we can see how this all went down. He was trying to reason with Stone and Robert, but Stone and Robert was not hearing that. They were not hearing that. No way was they hearing that. They were out for blood. Scrambling for his life, Preach actually locked himself in the restaurant's bathroom where a young lady was actively using the facilities. She was very displeased with Preach being in the bathroom at this time, to say the least. The restaurant owner, named Martha, played by Juanita McConnell, with meat cleaver in hand, kicked Stone and Robert out of her establishment. Of course, Stone and Robert waited outside for Preach to come out, and they felt like they would get him when he comes out. With that, we Preach, knowing that Martha had got Stone and Robert out of the restaurant, he came out of the bathroom, and he begged Martha to let him out the side door so he have a better chance of escaping. And she obliged. As Preach exited the side door of Martha's restaurant, Stone and Robert sighted him, and the chase was on. Fortunately, Preach was able to lose them as they was chasing them. He was able to get away and lose them. So, yeah. When Preach reached the Yale station to meet up with Brenda, she told Preach that she had seen Coach Heath and told him about the Stone and Robert situation at Martha's. And he seemed very concerned, and he ran towards Martha's to help his best friend Preach. Previously dismissive about anything about Coach Heath or Coach Heath's name being brung up, when Brenda told him this, Preach seemed to have a change of heart. He understood and he felt the deep best friend loyalty that he had with Coach Heath, despite Coach Heath sleeping with his ex-girlfriend. And he told Brenda that he'll talk to her later, and he darting back to Martha's to help Coach Heath if Coach Heath is in something, or him and Coach Heath can combine. So he headed back to Martha's looking for Coach Heath. Preach was too late, though. Stone, Robert, and Damon had caught Coach Heath under the L tracks and gave him a good beatdown. Although their intentions wasn't to kill him, it was just to teach him a lesson. One last blow from a salty and bitter Damon, because Coach Heath had beat him up a few days prior, caused Coach Heath's head to hit the metal beam of the L tracks, and it was fatal. At the burial for Coach Heath was I had to say, it was a sad part of the movie. It brought the movie real sadness here. You know, Coach Heath, Richard Coach Heath Morris, who had all the potential to be a great basketball player and have a great basketball career, you know, wiped out as a teenager with all the promise in the world. And it was just a sad ending. You know, to be at the burial was sad. Yeah, so. At Coach Heath's burial, Preach pretty much stayed off away from the crowd. I guess he wanted to mourn by himself, but he did get an opportunity to address his best friend alone by himself in a heartfelt way. He was able to express words to his best friend for the last time. This was pretty much the end of the movie. There was a montage of updates for the characters in the movie. And there was a running scene of Preach where he ran to the music of I'll Be There. But but this right here was pretty much the end of the movie here. A very good movie in my opinion, a classic. I give it a thumbs up. I'll end the video right here. Please feel free to like, share, and comment on this video. Also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. After subscribing, please click that little notification bell in order to be notified of any new uploads from the channel. Thank you all for your support. I truly appreciate it. I'm out on this one. Hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. Peace! One love. Stay safe. Continue to be blessed.